great to be back here in Lexington. I really appreciate the kind reception you just gave me. As I came in, Reggie, you got a good operation. I came in and said I forgot my checkbook, and your young man said, well, you can contribute online. You got the visa? I did. So I have tithe. But it's great to be here, and I see my old friend Jim Keller. He threw one of my favorite fundraisers ever when I was running for AG in 2007. He just called me up on the phone. He said, Jack, you're running against someone from the Fayette County Bar. I said, does that mean I can't get your support, Judge Keller? He said, heck no, that means I'm going to organize 200 co-hosts and we're going to have a fundraiser for you. And dang if he didn't do it. And I'll always be grateful to Jim Keller, not only for that, but for his incredible temperament, for his friendship, for his ability to wear the robe and be likable at the same time. He's the epitome of a gentleman lawyer and a gentleman judge. And you've got a great corporate citizen, a great civic leader, excuse me, there in Jim Keller. This was easy when they called me over and said, you're going to be there Monday night, right? I said, sure. And I said that because Reggie has been so good to me through the years. I met Reggie a number of years ago, and he came up to me and he said, you know where my roots are from? I said, no, Reggie, where? He said, Union County. Well, that happens to be where my dad's from. It's where my beloved grandparents are buried. It's where I used to sneak out and pick ears of corn for my grandmother in the late summer, and one of my favorite parts of the state. So not only do we have that bond, but I think we have a bond where we're trying to look out for those who can't look out for themselves. You know, as AG, I oftentimes say that the big pharmaceutical companies we go after, the big oil companies, whatever, they've got plenty of lawyers. The people of the Commonwealth have one advocate, and that's us. I think Reggie's running for the state legislature because he wants to put people before politics. As the Republicans are running around our Commonwealth right now going 12 and 12, 12 and 12, they've got these cards they're handing out as if they think they're really going to take over the Kentucky State House. Well, let me remind you, just 4 years ago when we had a presidential election, we picked up seats in the Kentucky House. And we are going to pick up seats this fall, and we're going to pick up the 88th right here in Fayette County. We're going to pick it up because I think the people of Fayette County can see through the partisan politics of the David Williams era. They can see the type of candidate that's really looking out for them and looking out for those people who are oftentimes voiceless in Frankfort. And they can look at someone like Reggie. They can see someone with a strong academic background. Strong academic background. Have you looked at that resume? The work he's done in our court system. But you know what? He hasn't said, I'm going to rest on my laurels. He understands that old adage that success is 90% perspiration and only 10% inspiration. Reggie works. Reggie works whether it's his name on the ballot or any Democrat's name on the ballot. When statewide candidates like myself come through here, Reggie's always the first person to greet us and asking, what can I do for you? He's taking that work ethic to the streets in this election. He's taking all his experience with him to talk to the people of this district. And what he needs from us is he needs our shoe leather this time. He needs our contribution so he has the yard signs to put up. He needs our contribution so he can run radio and TV. And if we do our part, we're going to send someone to the legislature in Frankfort who will never forget those who need to be represented in Frankfort. So please give a warm welcome to our friend and the next state representative from the 88, Reggie Thomas.
Jack, thank you so much. And you're right, Jack. You and I are homeboys. Morganfield and you were picking ears of cotton. I was picking blackberries and running around going to the grocery store with my grandmother 3 or 4 times a day. But there's nothing like Morganfield and Union County. First of all, I have to give a huge thank you to Justice Keller. I mean, Justice Keller, you've been above tremendous in terms of your help to me in putting together this fundraiser, contacting people. Your effort has been tireless, and I am really indebted to you for everything you've done to put this outstanding group of this fundraiser today. So let me, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you for all that you've done. Also, Dan, thank you for being here. As KDP chair, you've done a tremendous job the last 2 years under some very difficult times leading the party. You've been very successful. Most evident in the last election where you just blew away Republican opponent for governor, and you and Governor Bashir are just great in terms of providing the kind of leadership we need in the station. So thank you as well, Dan. Also, I want to give a shout out to all of my co-hosts here. I mean, when people looked at my list and saw all my co-hosts, there's too numerous to name, but there are 80 of them, and said, wow, Reggie, I mean, you got this number of co-hosts, and because I said it was all Justice Keller, but again, I want to thank all of my co-hosts for agreeing to be a part of my campaign, and just thank you so much for agreeing to help me and assist me in this endeavor. And of course, Paula, my campaign manager, thank you, Paula. Again, I want to talk about my campaign, but first, again, going back to the co-host. Unfortunately, with the Citizens United decision, you have to have money to run a campaign. And I was telling Martha DeNotra earlier, the toughest part about being a political candidate today is asking for money. But you really do need it. I mean, you need it for websites, you need it for literature, you're going to need it for media. And you can't even run a race for state representative now without having money and serious money to run. I remember Bill Garman was one of my good friends when I told Bill I was running. He said, well, Reggie, how much money do you think you're going to need? I said, well, Bill, I think maybe I can get by with $25,000. And Bill just laughed. He was out laughing. At this point right now, I've raised twice that amount of money, and probably going to need twice more of that to really run an effective campaign. So your help here tonight in terms of assisting me and helping me reach that goal that I'm going to need to get my message out and be competitive is really very appreciative and very important. I'm going to need that to run this race and to win this race. And Jack is right. I do intend to win this race again. So thank you for your help. I want you to know that I really have been working hard. And just last week, I knocked on over my 2,000th door in this race. I've got 52 precincts more in my district. I can tell you as of today, I have completed 20 of them. I really mean complete. I'm not walking on not knocking on a few doors, but knocking on a substantial amount of doors in each precinct. I've finished 20. I've knocked over 2,000 doors. And I intend, my goal, Lord, is to hit every precinct in my district by the end of August. And I think I'll reach that goal. So I've really worked hard. I have to admit, my law practice has suffered. And Jack, I'm not making any money now because, this is really, Jack's a 24/7 job. I wake up in between fundraising and campaigning. That's really all I have time to do. So I've put forth, a concentrated and very serious effort because I'm committed to winning this race and doing everything that I can to win this race. So that's been really my job for the last 6 months, is working on this campaign. And my goal is to reach every voter once, twice, 3 times in order to do what I have to do to be successful in November. In terms of issues, I'm not going to bore you with a really long speech. Suffice it to say that since there are attorneys here, one of the things that I really want to do is to make sure that our judiciary is well funded. Now, we think about our judiciary as being a dispute resolution mechanism, and it is. But it provides a lot of services as well, as you well know, Justice Keller. I mean, it provides services in terms of probate, in terms of guardianship, and Martha, even in the area of divorces, you got a lot of uncontested divorces, but people just want to get through the process so they can move on with their lives. And when you have cutbacks in judiciary, you have furloughs, you have people who can't, because we don't have money for them to get to work, we have to furlough them and cut back. It really hurts the integrity of our judiciary. Okay? And so one of the things I want to do is to make sure our judiciary is well funded, so that, as you I think Vince nodding his head, you're ready to become the circuit court clerk, so that we can meet the needs of our people in a very real and meaningful way. Because if people start to lose integrity or lose hope in the judicial system, that really impacts our society and people's faith in what we can do. So one thing I'm always going to make sure is that we have a judiciary that's functioning well, that's adequate resources, that people aren't furloughed, that they have adequate income, so that they can do the job to meet the needs of our community and our state. I'm going to close by reiterating what Jack said. And Jack is absolutely right. At the core, to me, this race is about people and about the betterment of Lexington. You know, all of my life, I've been about what can I do to make Lexington better. Whether it's being in the school system, say we need better schools, whether it's being part of a social justice organization, whether it's being part of an arts organization, whatever's been needed, you know, I want to be there to help Lexington. I've had a myriad of experiences, thankfully, in Lexington, doing different things to help the state. Also, not mention the chamber, which I serve on the board of, the tourism commission, which I'm presently a member of. I've always been about making this the best community possible. And as I think about being a state representative, you know, I think about Martha, who's going to have a son who's going to go to college. You know, I think about Garma, who has a daughter who's in her early 20s and wanting to have the opportunities that her father had. I think about Justice Keller and his grandchildren. And as your state representative, I will promise you this, that my mindset for the last 40 years about doing what's best for this city and what's best for the state is going to continue state representative. And I want to make sure that your children and your grandchildren, I see my lovely wife come in, but I've been looking for you. There's my lovely wife, Linda. My life partner, 32 years, so thank you, I'm about ready to end. But I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that your children and your grandchildren and you all, you know, have the highest quality of life possible, so that this state can move forward and be really one of the shining examples of what's the best in this country. Because Lexington and this state have a lot of good things going here, and I'm going to make sure that those become evident nationwide, and that we all can look back and say, yes, I'm proud to be a Lexingtonian, I'm proud to be a Kentuckian, and I'm proud to have Reggie Thomas as our state representative.